Okay, so guys, now let me take your surprise test. We have covered so many things. So I just want to have a quick round of this session, which from which I want to understand how much you have understood so far. And these are just 7 questions, and 7 questions means hardly 5 minutes, hardly 5 minutes for you. Okay, I mean, you can pause the video, you can give it a try. Let me first of all show you the data. You can create a dummy data also. Okay, that's not the problem. See, this is our Excel data. This is our data where I have written here some campaign numbers. You can see here campaign number, campaign name means these are some process one, process two, and like that. They have some numbers. You can write whatever you want. Basically, I'm using open, click, unsubscribe, and bounce. Okay, this is some website basically data. So it has some numbers, very small data, right? Now, so let me just write here some numbers. There's another sheet, guys, which is X2. It also has same headers. I mean, not exactly same, but the main header is this camp name. Spelling is CAMNAM, and you can see here also we have the campaigns. Some of the campaigns are available. So for example, if I just copy this, sorry, because this is also one of the question that I want to look up the things. So let's say some of the campaigns are here. Okay, sorry about this, the formatting thing. Let me just copy this quickly. So, you have these two data points. Okay, clear? Here I have revenue and loss. So in one of the question, you have to find out this campaign name, if it is available there or not in this data, and you want to return the revenue and the loss. Okay, that is a question, and for that we are using this database X2. Otherwise, all the questions are from this data. Okay, so let's start now. Fine, you can give it pause the video, give it a try, and then come back. I'm starting now. What is the first question? So I have already created the data frames. You can see this is how we are using the pandas. We are running this, we are reading the Excel file. It's very simple, right? If I run this, I'm using the PyCharm. You know that you can run this on any idle. It's up to you. This is our data basically. I just want to show you this data. This is the first data. Right now we are only focusing on this first data. Okay, so let's go and let me keep this in this way. So you can see the data also, right? Campaign name, how many campaigns are opened, how many campaigns are clicked, how many students have unsubscribed, how many have bounced from the student email IDs. Let's say this is like this. So let's start the first question. Extract the row number 5 if the first row is considered to be the 0th row. You know that in pandas, the first row is considered as zero index, right? So basically, we are saying that extract the row number 5 if we have to go by this, the first row. Let's say if this is a zero index. I mean, that's the point. Okay. So we are targeting here that we actually want the fifth row, which means this is the row sorry about this. This is the row which I need, right? Where the campaign actually is the process W6. How you're going to do this, guys? Okay, let me quickly start. Print, you know that we have talked about the locator and the index locator methods, right? So I'm just going to write here data frame because this is the data frame df, okay, where we are reading the data from the sheet 1, okay, and this is my path. So what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to use the index locator, and in the index locator we are going to write a 5. Okay, so this actually should return me this serial number called 6, because index locator 5 is this one, isn't it, going by the index label. So if I run this, let's see that. Let's go and run this. Okay, so now you can see that. Look at this. Fantastic. So the first question is solved. Correct or not? Right? Now, I know that the next question may come that can I use locator method also? I mean, because we're just extracting the data using the indexes. So in this case, yes, guys, you can do that. There's no challenge. You can do this. So if I run this, because our index, what is our index? Our index is actually this, the number, right? So I told you in the last lectures that if you want to use the locator, you have to make sure that it is referring to the uh, index label. In this case, it is. So one can see that whether you use locator or the locator, it works the same way. Okay. So finally, good job done. So we have done the first the question. So let me just go and comment this. Now let's start the second question. Okay. Let me run this data again so we can see only the data. Yeah, so this is your data. Okay, extract row 4, 8, 10 and column open, click and answer. Now you want to actually retrieve a data. So we want to retrieve the data which can give us the row 4, 8 and 10, which means obviously the index. So we're talking about 4, this one, right? And then 8 and then 10. But you have to make sure that when you get the data, all the columns, we don't need it, right guys? What I need? I need open, click and unsubscription columns only. So how you're going to do this, right? First of all, what I want is that this is my data frame. I'm going to use the index location. Okay. I will say that, okay, so if it is about the row number 4, 8, 10, I can just go and write here 4, comma 8, comma 10. Make sense or not? Right? We can do this. So if I print this, I should be able to see these exact the row numbers, correct or not? Wow, this is super cool. But here now the thing is, we don't actually need all the columns. We don't need the campaign name, we don't need the serial number. You know that in the index location we have another column, another parameter, I beg your pardon, which is a column. So I can write here that what exactly the column numbers I want to use, right? So for the column, now for the column, so it's open, click and unsubscribe. So if you go, this is 0, this is 1 and this is 2. So 1 is 2, that is what the column I need. And then 3, because click is 3, and then 4, right? This is what we need basically, right? So if I simply go and create here a list for the column section as well, and if I run this, let's see that what is going to happen in this case. Okay, let's run this and let's go and see the result. So now in this case, oh, my mistake. See, it has actually printed this value because my mistake, because this is considered as a second parameter in the print command. Very sorry for this, because we have to remove this square bracket and we have to go and write the square bracket here. Okay, now this I think makes sense, because now this is not inside the print, this is inside the index locator. So we are saying that this is row parameter and then comma, and this is a column parameter. You know that index locator works on this principle that you can provide the row and the column. So this is what basically we are targeting. Anyways, let me run this. Let's see that if we are able to throw this. Wow, this is super cool. So you can see that, guys, we have got the output. Is it correct or not? Yeah. All right. Now, what is the next question? Extract only bounce column. So I just need the bounce column. So if I, let me comment this. Let me show you the data. First of all, let's run this. So I need just a one column, which is a bounce column. Well, I think that's pretty simple, right? So you can use the index locator, or maybe I think what we can do is we can simply go and say that, okay, so we just want this, the data frame. And in this data frame, I'm just going to actually target a 0, this particular actually the bounce. So maybe I can write it in this way. And so in the locator, we want all the rows, right? So here I'm just going to leave this with the colon, because we need every row, right? But we need the row only from the one column. I mean, that's basically the plan, correct? And we have already discussed all these things. So I think if we run this, we should be able to see the bounce column. uh, yeah, so you can see I got here the bounce values. Okay, so we can cross check as well. The last value is 6 and 6 and 0, because this is the last column. So yeah, so 6, 6 and 0, and this is what exactly it is. Okay, if you go above, this is the bounce. Okay, fine. Yeah, so you can use the index locator as well. That's not a problem. Let me run this. So this is also done. Now the next is remove the unsub column from your data. So unsubscription rate, this column we have to remove. So if you remember that, we can just go and use the drop method, right? We have this the method called drop. I will be telling you about the drop NA as well. There are so many things in the drop NA. So we will discuss this after the test. Okay, so right now I just want to drop. And so basically what you want to drop, we can quickly go and write the header name. Okay, sorry, it's actually unsubscription, unsub. So this is what I want to do, right? Now, because it is dropping the things, I want to just again check that does it have in place parameter? I know that it's not easy to remember. So I always say that whenever you're doing something, basically you are trying to put some data, you're trying to insert data, delete data, update data, what are you doing? You are taking some action on your data. You're not gathering the information, right? So this is called a method, right? You're doing something. Now, when you do that particular thing, you got to see that if that particular parameter has the in place or not. Most of the time, you'll find in place is always there. And what does in place does? So I want to actually see the changes if I want to print this. So that's why we will quickly go and write here the in place. Uh, Sorry, not here actually. That's why I was checking that why the parameter is not coming. So this is where we will start writing the in place, and I will simply go and say that in place has to be true. Okay, and once this is done, our data frame should not have this header because it will have been dropped by that time. This syntax is not correct. Now it's fine. So we are trying to drop this header in the double quotes in place true. You know that the immediate changes will reflect in the same data frame. It is not going to do the changes in the some other copy. It is not going to create a separate copy. Access columns because it's a column, so we have to write this. So let's run this and let's see the output if we are able to drop. Well, the program has executed and column and subscription column is not there, right? So this is so far looking good. Now let's take up the next. Let me comment this. Let's take up the next thing. So look up campaign name in a second table and fetch the revenue and the loss. You remember that, right? So let me show you actually the data frame. So I am already to save the time, I'm already using this X2 the sheet, and now I want to show you the data where I want to look up. So our target basically is that from one database to the another database, we want to fetch the information, right? So this is the first database where we have the campaigns, and then there is another one. You can see, so the headers are not coming nicely. So let me do one thing. Uh, Let me have a next line here. Yeah, so now you can have a look. This is the second database. Now these are the processes which are actually available in the first database, and so we want here the revenue and the loss from these tables, from this table, the second table, right? So obviously the campaigns which are not available in the second database, as you can see, these are the some different campaigns. We just want to see here null. Obviously we don't want to ignore the what you call these campaigns, right? We want the full list of these campaigns. This is very important, right? I need the entire data, basically the first data. Based on the first data, whatever the lookup I have in the second table, that we want to do it. So for this, so it's like a VLOOKUP. You all are familiar with the Excel. So how I can do this? So we can use the lookup, this the merge function, the pandas, which is very simple. So let's use this the merge, and so on the pandas, we are going to use the merge, and some people also use, they directly use the data frame and then say that, on the data frame they want to use the merge, and then they start writing the another data frame. That's perfectly fine, but I'm gonna do in this way because I prefer this way. So let me start the bracket. The first thing is this is my first data frame, and I want to use the second data frame. And on the second data frame, uh, what exactly, how do you want this? Well, we want actually here, that the left join, because from the left table I want all the data, correct or not? The first table. Now the another thing which is important is because here we have different headers, and we want to say that these two headers you should go and create a relationship between these two headers. So from the left side, I have some header which is CNAME, I guess, campaign name. And then from the right means on the other side of the data, we have campaign name. Let me check the spellings. Actually, I'm not sure. And then I guess in the merge, if we go and see rest everything, I think is okay. We don't need anything else, right? Yeah, so it should actually look up the data. So let's have a look here. This is cam name actually, and I think the previous header is CNAME. Okay, and CNAME I think I have written correct. Yeah, so this is also fine. Yeah, super cool. So once this is done, the merge will happen, guys. Okay, so if the merge is going to happen, then what I want to do is that I want to actually take that to the data frame, which I'm going to create here, and then we will simply print this. So if this is all goes correct, then we will be able to capture the those two columns, the details, and as you can see here that we have got the revenue and the loss. Obviously not a number, these NANs are because these campaigns are not available. So these are the campaigns actually which are available, and you know that how to remove this campaign name, because now we don't need the campaign name. We have already collected the revenue and the loss, right? So these are those campaigns which have the data. Rest they are not available, they are not there, what I mean to say. So now we can simply remove this campaign name from this data frame. You know that how to do that. Let me do this. So what we are going to do is before we print this, we can simply go and take this data frame and we can say drop, right? And this is something we have just done. So I'm going to drop this, and the important thing is that I'm going to say that the in place is going to be true. And yes, I have done the same thing again. Axis equals to column. Okay, or this time I'll just write one, so because we are removing the columns. So let's go and run this. Okay, there we go. Now this is our perfect data, right? Right, this is our perfect data. Obviously you don't need the serial number as well, so you can remove the serial number as well, right? You know that this is from the second, so underscore y is inserted. So I can just simply go and type in this another serial number also. And since now we have two headers, so let's create a list of it. Let me run this now. Let's check this. So now you see that even the serial number is gone, right? So this is cool. Revenue and the loss is there. Perfect. You can replace these NAs with something else also. That is something we will do later. So I guess the lookup is done. So in Python, the VLOOKUP is so simple, right? See guys, as I always say that, I don't know if you have any other programming experience, programming knowledge or not, but you know, most of the time in other programming languages, you have to write a lot of syntaxes if you have to achieve these type of tasks. Python people say is easy because of these syntaxes. Now, in this syntax, what is happening? You just need to actually write the line, and you need to understand that what each parameter means. You are really not going inside this. What is going on inside this? Obviously, when this line runs, your program will be going on that particular column, will be checking all that things, you know, step by step, row by row, for which you don't have to worry. That's why people say that Python is very easy to understand. But I want to tell you one thing. If you go in the other programming language, you may have to write 5 or 6 lines instead of the one line. But that does not mean that you know that programming language does not have any charm. Because you see, when you write the something, if you are, in my opinion, suppose if I have to write this program in Excel VBA, 5 or 6 syntaxes, maybe I will write it. Let's say maybe I'm not really saying that this is exactly the case, but let's say I have to write. But you know, those also are very interesting to write. I mean, it's very interesting to see the those number of lines when you see that second line has a relationship with the first line, the third line has a relationship with the second line. Everything is moving in a sequence. So you really, you know, read that the code, you understand that code like a story. Okay, so other programming languages are also wonderful. One should not stick to just a one programming language, in my opinion. Okay, anyways, so that's the reason people prefer Python, because it's quite easy. Now to write this line, you know that even you don't have to be a programmer. You can do that, right? So that's how it is. All right. Okay, so the next is add a column before click, before a click column, which is which should be the sum of the bounds and the open. So we have to add a new column here, right? and that new column should be added where before the click column. Okay, before the click column. So where is my click column? Yeah, so here before this, and then it has to be a column of what? It has to be a addition of bounce and open, which means 1 plus 2 makes it 3. That is the value it should pop up in the first row. Okay, that's fine. So we're gonna do that. But now what I want to do is I just don't want this line to be used, because now lookup is done. We don't need to see the data frame, but I'm keeping this for you. Okay, no problem. But I just comment this. So now let me run this. So we have only one data frame. Now you remember that how we can insert the column. Well, you can insert the column by using different methods, but the thing is that uh, you can use the append, but because we have a target of inserting it at a specific position, so we will use the insert, and here you have to tell the position. So if it is before click, that means 0, 1 and 2 and 3. So I want to actually insert this on the third index, I guess. And then I want to write here the name, which is, let's say I'm just going to write here new name, okay, or new column, let's say. And then in the next parameter, I just have to write the value. You can go and hover on the insert also. This will give you all the calculation, right? You don't have to remember the parameters. And this is what I do always. Okay. So self, and then you see the location and the column, and then the value. So column means column name, location, obviously where you have to go and put it. For that, it has to be integer data type, and then the value, what value it holds. So now it's not as something like 100, 200. Otherwise, I could write 100, 200. I have to write here the sum of the bounce and the open. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my data frame. I'm going to say that, okay, so here you have the open, right? This is what I want from you. And then the another one is the bounce. Okay, so this is what I want. So basically in the value section, I'm trying to write this, right? I'm trying to write this. So once this is done, I want to actually print my data frame. Okay, and since it is an insert operation, I want to see that if in place parameter exists or not, right? So let's hover on the insert. Okay, so let's go and see that. So do we have here I don't no, I don't see any parameter. So that means the changes will should happen right away in the code. So now you can see that we have got the changes done, I guess. And now this 3 is 2 multiplied by 1 is 2 plus 1, sorry, is 3. 1 plus 46 is 47. And 22 plus 38 is going to be 60. So this is working. Super cool. So we have got this done. All right. So I hope this is a good revision for you. And now you need to check where exactly you stand. I'm sure you must have given it a try also before watching this video. The last question is return the data which has open and unsub more than 10. Okay. So we want to see a data which should give me uh, the data based on actually a condition. So we are saying that here, if you go back to the data, I want to see a data where open and the other header, the values, they must be greater than 10, right? More than 10 actually. Answer, yeah. So I think this is a very simple. This we can go and create a filter. Uh, we can filter the data like in Excel also you do. So I'm just going to set up the criteria here, and the criteria is obviously we have done this as well before. So let's go and say that open has to be greater than 10, and I prefer this way. There are a lot of ways of writing it, guys. Some people don't write these variables, they just go and put the criteria inside that. Well, I prefer this way because I think that this gives me more uh, understanding. So once this is done, we will simply go and say that now we want to print the data. So let's start the data. So I'm going to print the data, and in the data now I have two criteria, right? So one is the criteria one, and because this is and, this is not or, so we'll use this and symbol, ampersand sign, and criteria two. Actually, I think this should give me the data where these two headers, the values of these headers should be greater than 10. Now you can see that this is our data basically we have extracted.
All right, so thank you so much for this, and I hope you have loved this, right? And let's meet now in the next lecture. And by the way, these are the questions we have covered. Okay, you can see all these answers here. Okay, okay, thank you.